Hi, good morning. Are you all ready to get started?
Yes.
Miss Jonathan will be here. She was meeting with some staff members, so she said it was okay to start.
I do have the Article 33 for the PTs for us
Perfect.
for today.
Anybody have any comments, questions? I think we're ready to TA. We have a counter proposal for Article 26.
It's just a one.
Yeah.
I'll take it.
That's a good call, Billy, yeah.
Thanks. We spent quite a bit of time yesterday afternoon visiting about Article 26. And felt like we could commit to increasing the rate of compensation for the elementary teachers who are splitting and absorbing additional students. And you can see the amounts noted there.
Question? Okay, we'll talk about it in caucus.
Okay.
Um. We would like to make a package proposal to you. So I did a little bit of editing in your 43. we had some concerns about the use of the word physician as opposed to just healthcare professional. Like I personally see an APRN who is not the legal definition of a physician. So we changed that. And then I just did a little bit of rewording. It's 2 pages. And then I only did the sections that because the chart is in the
The
big thing, so I just didn't include
You didn't
that. I just did the changes. What?
Did you print all 4 pages?
Yeah, no. I did. So with that, with the sick leave, we would like to reintroduce Article 20. Because we perceive that there will probably be more meetings that would potentially lead to what I would consider to be disciplinary if you're in a deduct. I would say that this is, I mean, it's not a good thing, that's for sure. So I did just a little bit of zhuzhing on the words on what's included in that list to make sure that we included those conferences about people's attendance in that list also. But we would like to have that back included as a part of the package, and then yeah, so that's the first part of that. Then the second part of the package would involve the fringe benefits, the differential, in conjunction with the overall raise on the base. So whenever you're ready for that, just let me know.
Say that again.
We're presenting it as a package. So so that's the first part of the package, and then the second part would be the rate differential for the health insurance in conjunction with a ask for compensation on the base.
Anybody have questions on 32 documents? Nothing now? Okay, we don't have any questions.
This would be. This is. Gary. Gary. Yeah, can you go get this off? Sure. Sit in the office. Which part are you? Yeah, the one in the workroom over there. It'll just spit out.
Yep.
Anybody have questions on that one?
And then Gary's just grabbing that. Compensation, so. We're having it printed real quick for you. Yeah, you can get rid of it. And then in conjunction with the fringe benefits, rate differential information, we are requesting a raise of 3,500 on the base and a step for all people that are not in the gray are on schedule and are not on probation, I think is the phrase that's used. Probationary renewal. So that is that chart in front of you.
I don't think we have any questions on that.
Okay,
I am wondering if you're prepared to discuss your Article 36 requests around the EL paras so that when we, or paras teachers, in that addendum, so that when we caucus, we're ready to come back with a counter.
we would not introduce that as a part of this package. We would drop that. So it wouldn't be included. So this would be the last,
Of your proposals.
correct, right? This package is the last of that.
Okay, then I think we're ready to caucus.
Okay, 9:17, so 9:20, what time do you wanna come back?
10:15?
Okay.
Were you able to look at 26 in our counter proposal?
The 26th?
Yeah.
Yes, we were. I actually have. Where do you see all your steps in the base, right? We just really feel like including those non-classroom folks that have to cover class weeks by themselves for the day is important to us. So that's what we added back into this. And then we just, because the word teacher would not necessarily apply to those people in the chart, we changed it to professional employee.
Okay. Any questions? Thank you for that.
You're welcome.
We were able to discuss your package proposal briefly. That is not something that we can consider as a package.
Okay. Do you have a counter to that, or what do you want to do?
We would be happy to look at the items individually.
Okay. Is there anything in the package that you would have accepted as is? Like any individual pieces that you would take like as written, or does it all of it need to be potentially redone? I guess is what I'm asking.
We really just discussed like as a package, we just cannot do this.
Okay, do you need more time then to go back and discuss each individual item?
Yes.
Okay. What time? Which is.
We go back to 10:30.
Yeah, 40 minutes.
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah. I think.
We have a few minor updates to 43 for you. I'm gonna let Gary pass out the 4-page packet.
So review myself.
Because I just pushed print.
I'd like to see me review myself. The only difference between yesterday and today is I know it before I got here.
Hey, that's a big difference.
I make the difference, right? And mine were, what do mine?
Staple.
Yeah, that too.
This whole project too. Was not hiding my deficiencies. We just tried.
Thank you. Thank you.
We got one.
Okay. Adjustments that we made was to the wording around licensed physician, changing that to licensed healthcare provider. And that matches the language that we had adjusted in our student policies recently. And on E, we added the language of as outlined in Article 44. That's where it talks about when personal leave is not allowed. We also removed, upon request to that bottom sentence under E because it already says at the beginning of two, employee may be asked. And then on 5 and 6, adjusting that again to say licensed healthcare provider.
Okay, any questions?
Article 20. That is one that we continue to have the stand of, we cannot add that language. And we had previously shared when we discussed it, I think in June, about employees can ask their principal if they can have representation present as is. So it's not necessary to adjust the language in the article.
I have, I guess if we can go back to the sick leave policy and just trying to understand some more of the logic of why you're wanting to add more provisions to that. You gave us a few dates, but nothing, no data around professional development, if there were concerns there. So I'm curious so that we can understand better why you're wanting to add language of what your reasoning is.
Really, the only language that's being added is C. Everything else was kind of an adjustment to the formatting of language that was already there.
Okay,
And C, the request was because of the data that I shared with you previously.
So there
our
were
rates on Mondays and Fridays are not sustainable. It is taxing to the other teachers in the building and really difficult for some services to be able to secure enough substitutes to cover Mondays and Fridays.
so the data that you gave us, there were about 10 days over a span of 3 school years.
I gave you the highest numbers,
Okay,
but there are It is always typically higher on a Monday or a Friday, but I gave you the extreme.
Okay, so when you say typical, like on a Wednesday, what is a typical number of absences?
I'd have to go back and compare the data and look at it. I don't have that memorized. But I know that Mondays and Fridays are definitely the concern. Sometimes like 50, 60 more absences.
So what happens
Just
if,
going from memory without analyzing the numbers right now.
so I mean, in theory, right, like this would only work to curb those if those days are not then able to be verified by a physician, correct? Like in theory, like, cause if I could have a doctor's note for every Monday and Friday I ever took all school year, right, like then in theory, this does nothing. For like curbing me taking them on a Monday or a Friday, right, cause I assume it's only applying to Mondays and Fridays, right, like the one. Like if I take the day on a Monday, I don't have to provide a note until I'm gone on another Monday or Friday, right?
Correct.
So like if every Monday that I take off, let's say I take off 4 of them, I go to a doctor's appointment. And I have documentation for that, that wouldn't necessarily curb me from going, right?
Correct.
So the assumption is we're assuming that those are not being used for correct reasons, right? Like we're assuming people are abusing their sick leave provisions, is that what we're?
So statistically, wouldn't you have the same, randomly have the same number of absences on a Wednesday? Or you're just as likely to be sick on a Wednesday as you are on a Monday or a Friday? And then,
Well, but that assumes that people are taking them because they're sick, right? Like, so, I mean, I'll just say, if I have a doctor's appointment I have to schedule, why wouldn't I schedule it on a Monday morning so I can sleep in a little bit, or a Friday after? I mean, I'm just saying, right, like, who doesn't wanna not have to set their alarm for 5:30 AM and set it for 7:30 AM today, because I have a doctor's appointment at 9 AM instead, like. So I mean, I'm just saying, like, in theory, right, like, the assumption is that people are abusing their sick leave provision. But this could potentially do nothing for that if we discover that people are legitimately just scheduling their appointments for themselves or their children or whatever, like on Mondays and Fridays on purpose, right? Because they would have a document for that that says that it's okay for them to be gone. That's what I'm asking, I guess. Is that like we could discover this does nothing, like we're just assuming that people are abusing their sick leave though.
Our goal is to try to do what we can to reduce the number of absences that we're seeing on Mondays and Fridays, because it is taxing on everyone in the building when the number of absences are so significant that you're having to cover classrooms or take additional students in your room.
Right, I agree, I understand what you're trying to do, I'm just saying that what you're attempting, how you're attempting to do it also includes the assumption that I wouldn't be able to provide documentation for those absences. Because otherwise I could continue to take them on Mondays and Fridays as long as I can provide the adequate certificate from a healthcare provider that says I needed to be gone today. So like I'm just saying, like, the assumption is that people are abusing their sick leave, but we don't know that to be, do we have data that says that? Like, do we know that people are in deduct more often on Monday and Friday than they're in, like, do we have that data somewhere that says that, or are we just?
Data that the number of absences on Mondays and Fridays is significantly higher.
But what percentage of those people are like in deduct for continuously taking Mondays or Fridays, or like how many of those in those groups are abusing it, which seems to be what this is curbing or attempting to?
when you schedule a doctor's appointment on Monday and Friday, do you take the whole day? Because my doctor's appointments don't generally take.
I mean, it depends, if I have to schedule my appointment at 11:15 and my half day ends at 11:30, and I'm still in the doctor's office at noon. Well, I had to take the whole day because I had to leave work. You know, I mean,
Right.
my situation is a little different because of the way that my subs are covered in the basic program. But I mean, Danica, for example, if she had an appointment at 11 o'clock even potentially, right? Like she would have to take the morning because her half day ends at 11:30. But then if she's still in the doctor's office at 11:30, she can't go back. I mean, she would then have to take you know what I mean? So yeah, potentially people
Schedule them.
I mean, I don't know that I'm not saying that that's happening on purpose. I'm just saying that the assumption we're coming from this with is that we would be able to curb those number of absences because the absences are not legitimate. and couldn't be verified with a physician's certificate. So I'm asking if we have like, do we know that more of those on Fridays and Mondays, like are more people going into deduct because they can't provide that certification now? Like, is that, or is it just, we're just assuming that because the number's higher, that it's being abused? That they're not legitimate claims for sick leave?
I would say at this point, we don't necessarily have a way to confirm on the Mondays and Fridays.
Unless they go past their,
Correct.
right, okay. Okay, that's what I was asking, was if we had some documentation that shows that. Like they're ending up in deduct, so that would show me that you don't have the appropriate document, I mean, unless you just. Legit have a thing and you run out of days, but I mean, people that just, you get over your 6 days and you can't provide me a document, like, well, yeah, you're probably not. Taking it off for the correct reasons, I mean, I think that's the general assumption there, if you can't provide the note. So,
Right.
okay. All right. Anything else?
Along those lines, like when you get to 3 consecutive days or 6 total days. What is the process for those conversations happening? Like, is it HR that reaches out? Is it a building admin? I haven't experienced that, so what's that process currently for the current language?
It would be the building administrator.
Okay, and are there, for when you ask for documentation for the current language, are there often times that people can't provide notes?
Sometimes.
So we're adding language for the sometimes.
We're adding language in attempt to reduce the number of absences on Mondays and Fridays. Maybe we will find that it doesn't curb the Monday and Friday, but we know that systematically that's a concern, and something that we were hoping to be able to address.
Okay,
Are you ready for us to talk about 38?
yes.
This is a proposal that we are willing to consider. On down at the bottom, the second to last sentence, it says, at the conclusion of the 25-26 school year, the Health Insurance Committee will evaluate the impact on claims and report this information to the NEAT negotiations team. We would like to strike the part that says, and report this information to the NEAT negotiations team, because you have representatives on that committee.
I am not there in an NEAT capacity. I asked questions about insurance at one of these superintendents, like roundtables where they come to schools. I was then put in contact with LR, asking some questions about the current policy, and he said, you know a lot, would you be interested in joining this committee? And I said, yes. Our vice president, I believe, is our representative.
Yes,
But there was eye contact made toward me. I am not there in an NEAT capacity. I am not the representative on that committee.
Amelia.
Yeah, Amelia currently is.
I think we just wanted, I mean, I'll just explain it, I'm the one who wrote that, so I'll say it. I just wanted to make sure that the information that the team got so that we could then come back to the table to discuss whether or not that was still mutually agreed upon was 100% accurate and displayed the same way it was in the health insurance committee, so as not to provide some amount of bias to the team in advance, was my intention with that, was that if Gary just sends us the same information that's explained in committee, then we don't receive it with any sort of a, this is how I perceived that conversation to go, or how I think this is, or that, or whatever. We just get the straight facts. So I was just trying to attempt to cut that out the best I could. But I mean, I guess if you're okay with Amelia just forwarding that information to us once you review it in committee.
Absolutely.
okay.
She's certainly free to do that.
And I think why we want to make sure that you have representation on the committee.
Absolutely.
Questions? Okay,
Sarah, there was also discussion about the, some language, strongly advised to and guidelines. It probably should be changed to required or must. That way, I think it would be clearer language.
well, I mean, they don't have to though, it's not required, right? Like I could just pay the,
That's your.
like
your
my
option.
board paid option
Well,
would just
yeah,
be less,
right.
right?
Will have the option to, then that would be more, that'd probably be better language than strongly advised. Will have the option too, because it's their option to either get the annual physical or to pay the money.
If you guys wanna look at that. When we go back and look at some of this other stuff and come back with something for us to look at, we're happy to look at that. If you guys have some way you wanna report that you think would be more clear or whatever.
Okay, you ready to move on?
Mhm.
Okay. Your proposed salary schedule. I will let Ms. Finnegan speak to that.
So the 3,500 plus step cost proposal. The cost of that, I just kind of looked at the numbers quickly, that's 127% over what we're expected to get in new state aid for 26. So that is unattainable. It would be irresponsible for me to even entertain that as a possibility, because it is far, far away from what we could manage in the budget for FY26.
Do you have a counter proposal of what is manageable?
We do.
We do.
What is that digit?
I would like us to wrap up the conversations around the items that are already on the table, and then we'll be ready to share that proposal with you.
I mean, I'm just gonna be really honest. We developed the package because we have serious concerns about being able to ratify something with the rate differential and the sick leave language without some sort of a significant compensation package to provide them. So I don't know that we can agree to those types of languages until we have an understanding of where we might fall on a compensation package. Because I'm just being completely transparent and honest. I have serious concerns about us being able to get that ratified, because we're just hearing from so many people that they're just not willing to do that. So like, we were just trying to find a way to make that more palatable, I guess, is a way to say that, right? Like, yes, you're giving up something you don't like or taking something you don't like, but here's something else that you do really like. So I don't know that we can TA until we have at least some, even a ballpark understanding of where that might, like, I mean, I hear Gary, when you said 100, what percent, 177, thank you. So like, I know in my head, when I did the math based on the scatter chart that I got in May from, I think it was run in April, the end of April, like, I know what that would have cost me, so I can figure out how much that would then be to be 100%, but I don't know that that's accurate for the upcoming school year. Right? Like we had this problem last year where I did the math based on the numbers I had and I was off. Because they just, I mean, they're not the same from April to August, we know that, you know? So. That's kind of, I think, our concern is that we just don't really know what. We don't have at least a ballpark understanding of where that's gonna fall, we're just not really sure that we can. Agree to those provisions just flat out, right?
I feel like I wanna go back to what I said when I put 43 on the table, is the fact that the district hasn't made an ask. All of last year, one ask this year. I feel like we worked really hard over the course of this year to come up with some solutions that were, positive for both, the teachers and staff as far as the, Article 30. Was a significant, change and adjustment, that we all spent a lot of time on, and I think that we were all really proud of where we ended with that. So I just have to say that if we have one ask that should be able to be documented, I would find that disappointing.
I mean, I would find it disappointing to have to take a package. To the bargaining unit and then have to come back to the table. Like, I mean, I can't remember the last time we voted down. I know it's happened in the last 13 years, but it was a really long time ago. That we couldn't get it ratified. So I would share your disappointment that we couldn't get it ratified, but I'm just trying to be honest about the position that I feel like our team is in. If we don't have an understanding of where that falls, right? Like, I don't know how to make. I mean, I can't make people vote yes or no. I'm not allowed to do that. So I can't go to them and say, well, the district wants this one thing, so I need you to TA, I need you guys to ratify it. I can't say that to them. But like, well, I'm just like, when I have conversations with people and present things, those are the questions they wanna know, is it's about, well, why couldn't we get more of this or that? I mean, they need something to make it seem less like a sour pill that they're swallowing. I mean, that's just my perception of those conversations as a building rep when I have to present what that package looks like. And so I'm just trying to find a way to do that. And I'm just trying to be honest about it.
Okay,
So I'm not saying yes or no, I'm just saying that was what we were trying to do.
Ms. Wallace is going to share, some information around Article 26.
So in Article 26, we stay with our initial proposal from this morning. We eliminated a number of classrooms from one intentionally. It is our desire to prioritize splitting classes between classrooms as opposed to pulling support staff. Our time in media services, in intervention, in counseling, in EL, all of those are important services for our students. And we don't want them to lose the opportunity to have those services because a staff member is absent and we can't provide a substitute. So we will prioritize with principals that they split students between other classrooms. But putting one classroom or one support staff on here, I think devalues the importance of those support staff services. Because then they're going to get used, and students aren't going to get services that they would.
I mean, that's our concern though, is it's happening now. We had one person that came to us in their special presentation that was in a support position and subbed in a classroom over 100 days last school year. That is a huge devalue to them. So what do we tell those teachers when it's been happening and it inevitably will happen again?
then that needs to be a conversation that we're aware of. I'm unaware of a staff person who was used as a substitute for 100 days or more. When you, where? So we can't solve a problem, we don't know there's a problem.
Well, and I'll say in our conversation with some people, they were afraid to go to their admin and say, this is too much. I can't do sub job and my assigned job. They felt like that wasn't a conversation they could have, so they came to us seeing if contract language could be added to solve that problem.
I'm just gonna go back to having the one on here, the one classroom, then I think lends itself to happening more frequently than it would if it is not on.
Would you entertain language, it's not on our proposal, but right after this, as part of regular practice, no class should be divided between more than 4 teachers. Would you entertain adding language to that would also include, as a regular practice, we don't want to do that, like utilize one support staff member to cover?
The general rule is that we don't add language to address an isolated situation. If you will share that with your KNEA representative and they will talk with Ms. Wallace and we can resolve those one-on-one issues, but generally you don't add language to address an isolated situation. My theory is always adults should talk to adults. Teachers have a representative. That representative needs to be in constant communication with Ms. Sharp and Ms. Wallace. And let's resolve problems as they occur versus waiting a whole year and adding a sentence to address a specific, we want to address issues and central office is there to support what happens at the building level. Everyone understands that all of our efforts as far as education occur at the building level. So the more we can facilitate communication on those isolated one-on-one incidences, I think the better teachers will feel and we can support each other's efforts.
We also have a morale committee, and those are the kinds of things that could come to the morale committee to be discussed so that we can address them. We have had in a couple of very specific cases, a support staff member, and we handled it, both at the building level, but across the board as it related to specific services for students.
I just want to clarify, of the elementary schools that are represented, there was 13 elementary schools represented in this group that presented to us. So it's not an isolated problem of one. Now, the amount of subbing that they did varies strongly based on which elementary school I'm talking about, and I can't tell you which ones of those tie to which numbers, because we didn't require them, they didn't provide us with their names, so, but it's not as isolated. I mean, like, she's using an extreme example to say, like, this is part of, like, the major concern for people, but, like, it is a widespread practice across the district that's happening at least sometimes that is raising a concern for people, that then they're asked to do their regular responsibilities outside of their duty day, but they didn't receive compensation for the fact that I didn't get to spend my time during the day doing those things because I was over here covering the classroom. So I hear you when you say, like, an isolated incident, we don't want to add language, but we're not attempting to make it seem like this is if we didn't mean it to seem that way, because it's not that isolated.
We also don't want to add it because then it makes it okay. And it basically says that it's an allowable practice, and we don't want it to be an allowable practice.
But I think by not including it, you're saying that, like, obviously it didn't exist prior and it was happening. So not including it allows it to continue, and if the priority is to prioritize that so it happens less that way, then why not include language that makes that a contractual obligation or contractual intention instead of just the feeling that maybe it's a priority, maybe at this building, but maybe not at this one, or just the continuity of that. I think by including the language of that intention might be more meaningful than just crossing our fingers.
I think that in this case, an ounce of prevention is worth a pound of cure, instead of waiting for those extreme examples to happen and then filter their way up the chain. By including that intention in the contract outright, it would prevent those situations from occurring in the first place. And help towards this priority or this prioritization of splits. Which I think that we'd be amenable to.
At this point, we are willing to agree to what we presented this morning. And not the one that you proposed after that.
So if I come back with language that relays the intention that that would not be our preference, would you be willing to entertain that?
Consider it.
Okay, we will work on that. Okay, so we've got some talking to do. It's 11, almost 11:15. 12:45. Trying to do math in my head, sorry.
I think that sounds good.
Hour and a half.
Yep.
Okay,
We spent, quite a bit of time discussing, the current items on the table. Article 26 and 20, as well as our proposal of 43. And then we also have the fringe 30 out there. We are to the point where we feel like we are willing to withdraw 43. We will reject 20 and 26. I'm really feeling like those in particular are preventing us from being able to move forward and dig into what we really want to focus on is the fringe benefits and the salary.
Okay. Do you have a counter then on the 38 fringe benefits thing? Did you write language or?
Well, our thought with 38 is that we would look at 38 and the salary table together as like the final items and finish that out.
Okay, do you wanna, I mean, I can't give you a yes or a no on dropping things until I talk to my team, so do you wanna go ahead and present those items and we can discuss those all at the same time, or what would you like to do?
I would like your response on 26 and 20.
Okay, cause we'll need time, I mean, we'll have to go talk, I can't speak for them without, we didn't consider that option in discussion, so. Can we just have like half an hour, like 1:30?
Sure.
Okay. So we went and met and had a long discussion. Thank you for that time. And we don't agree that we have to drop these items in order to move forward. So we are not saying that we wouldn't be willing to do that pending a compensation package, but we can't agree to that in advance of that package. So we're ready to move on to salary and benefits, compensation stuff and talk about that.
Well, I feel like we had 20 and 26 out there, and we're saying that we're not going to continue to discuss those. We are pulling 43.
I mean, it's 100% within your right to pull something that you notice. That's absolutely true. But I'm ready to talk about salary, which is mandatorily negotiable. So we are ready to hear that whenever, and pending that discussion, we would be happy to revisit potentially dropping 20 and 26.
I guess my thought is that we're saying, based upon what you pass for 20 and 26, that we're done discussing those and that we don't want to move forward with those proposals.
I mean, I understand that you at this point have said that you are not interested in putting those issues into the negotiated agreement. That does not mean that I have to be willing to drop them, is what I'm saying. So I'm not agreeing to pull them off the table and not ever bring them up ever again. But if you want to withdraw 43 and then move on to salary, I'm happy to do that.
I think that we could have a discussion around 38 and finalizing 38. But we're not going to provide our salary proposal and table until we've closed out other items that have a financial impact.
I mean, you don't unilaterally get to determine how we negotiate and what that order is, though. So I understand that your salary package will be based on your preference to not include anything in Article 26. That's okay, and I understand and accept that that will be a part of your proposal. But that I'm not agreeing to never bring it back up just in order to receive a compensation package. That's not how this works. So if you want to move on from it for now, I'm fine with that. I'm happy to table it temporarily and move on. But I'm not agreeing to never be able to bring it up ever again.
But you would understand that we would not be able to make any other financial adjustments.
I understand that your benefit package would come to us with the understanding that the money that we've agreed to up to this point is what you factored into that decision. Yes.
Would you want to finish 38? With the removal of and report this information to the NEAT negotiations team remote?
Sorry, I'm just trying to think through it in my head. I mean, pending the compensation package, we would have a different offer of language to provide there.
In replacement of that particular sentence, or you would be wanting to change the proposal that you provided?
We would have an updated proposal, yes, like outside of just that sentence, yes.
Well, I would say at this point, we're willing to look at 38 and finish this out. If there's something else that you're, thinking around 20 or 26, we would want to see that, and then we would be ready to do the salary proposal.
You can't condition bargaining my salary on other items that are still on the table. That's not allowed, is my understanding, and Dawn, please feel free to correct me if my understanding of the P and A is incorrect. But I mean, I'm ready to talk about compensation, and that can include Article 38 fringe benefits with the current rate differential that you guys have proposed. I'm happy to talk about that and consider that, but you can't require me to TA this item or drop this item before we talk about something else.
Basically, their proposals, we've responded to them and rejected them or not going to move ahead on them. So unless both parties agree at some time to bring it up later, that's the latest on those. Those are not going anywhere. So from the district's perspective, the district's proposals on those are finished. We're not gonna offer any more or discuss them anymore, even if they're brought up by them. They could bring them up, but the team's consensus on whether we're gonna react or respond would be there. So in a sense, we're pretty much finished with negotiations at this point in time, except for the rest of the financial positions.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So I just, again, then want to make sure that we're all on the same page and that you have that same understanding.
My understanding is that up to this point, the proposals that we've put on the table, you have declined to include those in regards to 20 and 26 and 11. And you didn't believe that our salary package was feasible. And I understand that your package of your compensation package and benefit package that you propose will take into consideration that you are not interested in including those items, yes. But that doesn't prohibit me from bringing them back up later. You don't have to agree to them later, but I'm not agreeing to table those and never talk about them again. Pending the compensation and the fringe benefit packages.
And you did officially withdraw the EL proposal.
No, I did that as a part of a package that you refused to negotiate.
So that would also have a financial impact.
I mean, like I said, I would assume that your compensation package that you present would not take those things into account as you aren't interested in including them at this point. So I would understand that those stipulations are attached to your compensation package when we go to discuss it.
Okay, I think at this point, we need some caucus time, to make sure that everybody on our team is on the same page,
Okay.
before we move forward. I would propose that we conclude for today.
Okay,
Our team is not all available for tomorrow.
okay,
So we will need to select another time to come back together.
do you? Okay, do you have dates that you're, so tomorrow's out completely is what you're saying?
Yes,
Okay, so do you have dates that you're proposing?
we are all available on the 25th.
Okay, can you give me like 2 or 3 dates potentially that we could, or times of days that we could go look at? Like even if it's just like a half day or whatever?
What about the 31st or the first?
First or the first? Are you doing this?
Probably after the 31st, but. Okay.
No, oh, no, one of those days.
Because of,
This.
I could do the 23rd. You available the 23rd? We could do the 23rd or the 25th.
Okay, give us just like, we're just gonna step in the hall real quick and compare calendars and we'll be right back.
So the 23rd and the 25th, is that what we're looking at?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. And the first.
You got your email open?
We're not.
What do you do? Punch this out or unplug it?
Yeah,
You
the
can
meeting's
read it
still
on
on.
the Zoom.
Yeah, that's
That's
it.
right.
Mute it on the Zoom, just hit
So unfortunately, our team isn't available, basically. I mean, really for the next 2 weeks, due to new staff stuff that we've agreed to do and events and things that we're putting on or personal items that people are trying to take care of, so. We're happy to stay today and go to caucus and come back. We're happy to come back tomorrow at 9, but we've got, I mean, we've got the time blocked out on our calendars. So we just don't have it after that, like for the next several weeks. We all, like, at least 2 of us are unavailable at pretty much any time we looked at.
Well, what do you have available after the next 2 weeks?
School.
Yes, so.
That whole thing?
I mean, I think we kind of learned last year that negotiating after school isn't always. In August is difficult. I think we struggled to find times last year too. Once we got into August.
Were there days outside of the ones that we proposed?
I mean. I mean, we even looked at Saturdays, like, we're not, I mean, we just can't. Like there's just, we're at New Staff Academy 4 days next week, and then we've got a day of prepping for a major event the next week, and then we've got. Almost every day a major event at the association. That week before school starts, and then we go right back to work. I mean, and like I mean, we looked at 5 o'clock at night, 6 o'clock at night, we looked at Saturdays, like I mean, we're all just booked. Cause we put these days on our calendar and just blocked this time out. And so it's just, I mean, cause we scheduled these, I mean, what, March, April or whatever, so. We're just, I mean. It's just, I mean, but that's why we were out there so long. Is we were trying to find other times that would work. And we went all the way through the first, like through the 8th, and we couldn't find anything.
Okay, so then you're willing to stay past 30 today if needed?
Yep, for sure.
Okay, let's caucus.
Okay, do you wanna try and come back in an hour at 3 o'clock, or do you need longer than that? What do you wanna do?
Let's do 20 minutes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, I'll follow you.
You're on, so walk the other
Gary, did you practice this in school?
I'm not gonna get up anymore.
No worries.
I'm gonna stay seated. I can imagine.
We're passing out papers.
I mean, it's like schlepp rock.
Gary, you didn't pass out enough papers in elementary or.
I didn't, I was not called on a lot in elementary school other than,
Thank you.
Mr. Mankey, would you go to Mr. Deese's office, please?
Thank you.
You got it.
Where did you go to elementary?
Hudson Elementary, which is,
He gave me.
which is close. Long.
We gotta get one of those.
Hudson Elementary, yeah.
Too fresh off the press.
I was a training. All right, what we're sharing is what we feel is very competitive, is very doable within our budget projections for next year in light of a lot of the things that I kind of shared with you folks in terms of headwinds, the things we're concerned about. Whether it's rising cost of sped, whether it's currently $1.69 million worth of impounded federal dollars that we're not sure how that impacts us or our employees. Just today, I got a email from our director of purchasing on our office supplies. We spend about $450,000, $500,000 a year across the district and what we would refer to as office supplies. Certainly isn't a big portion of our budget, but the interesting thing is they went out for bid. They had increases of 33%, 32%, 20%, and 19.45%. I know these things probably aren't made in the United States, right? They're imported, but it is of concern that truly maybe some of this tariff stuff is going to be impactful in terms of costs. But in front of you, what we're proposing, along with what we passed with the health insurance, I'm not going to go over health insurance again because I think we talked about it for 2 hours. And my real concerns on health insurance and why we wanted to commit the $1 million that we put in last year. Just we're going to build it into the budget, or we would like to. And that is why we have continued to say we're okay with Article 38 outside of scratching at the conclusion of the 25-26 school year, the reporting back to the NEA, because certainly we will have a member on that committee. So here is our estimates on the salary piece. And remember, this is you are 1/3 of the employee group that we will deal with for salary increases for this upcoming budget year. So you can see with the salary increase as well as the longevity and the other things that are there that get touched when we start adding dollars to step and base. Also are impacted. You can see that overall increase there is 2.9%. We add another $193,000 on those increases in FICA taxes that the district, our share of that brings the total cost of that to 2.3 million. Article 30, which we agree, everybody I think did great work on that. Our estimates impact on that budget wise, we're going to set aside 150,000 to make sure we cover the items that we agreed to in Article 30. We think there is an important issue Article 26 is, yeah, we're gonna scratch that, in terms of those dollars. But what I don't have on there is we did agree to the, 2 PTs, that's $3,000, so I can update this. With $3,000 for those 2 PTs, because we did agree to that, correct? And then unified sports, we're in agreement with, that as well. Our estimates on, additional costs would be about 20,000, so not big expense there, but anyway, total package 2.5 million, on the salary, benefits. Again, we're committing, that $1 million to, the employer paid health, with that schedule of $600 for single, $650 for employed children, $660 employee spouse, and $700 on the family. And I just wanted to include, annualized, I had, one of our staff members this week just, hey, put all the certified staff in a table, rank them highest to lowest, and I'll just take that median number. That median number for Topeka Public Schools, at one in the middle, so 1,181, so number 570, whatever that is $59,900. If we get agreement, that $600 is important on that single health, that's $7,200 a year per employee the district will commit to. No changes on dental. That's about $21.96 a month, so that's an annual cost to the district. We do 100% on single dental, and also the life insurance a little bit. The FICA taxes on that $59,900 is $4,582. And then the district pays both 100% portion of the unemployment and work comp. And those are reflected there. And then that employer's capers, $6,996 is the 11.68%. That is the employer share, right? We all pay our 6%, that you see that, but what you don't see, what I don't see, is that every month we do a payroll reconciliation, and capers gets their portion too, which is the 11.68. So annualized, that $59,900, and that median salary is without supplements. That is just the base salary, and there's not very many teachers with just their base salary. I can assure you of that. That is just the base salary, and that is, the median is $59,900. But the reality is, that cost the district, right? There's additional $20,000 that we have to cover, that isn't salary or benefits. I think we made, we put a lot of thought and listen, it's as important to us, right? To get a salary table that's as competitive as anywhere. This does put us at that starting first year teacher salary above $50,000. I know that was always a goal for LR. And I want to do that this year. So with that, unless anybody else on our team has anything to share or add, that is what the district would like to work with.
We did intentionally put that footer on the salary schedule, just making sure that we're keeping at the forefront the benefits being part of that total compensation package. I feel that sometimes that gets lost when we're discussing negotiations, putting the resolution forward, and we want to make sure that everybody understands what the district puts into that.
Any questions?
Sorry,
On the,
I'm sorry.
kind of the breakdown on numbers here.
Okay.
We have Article 26 at $20,000. Is that, we're assuming the increase for these new rates?
We would scratch Article 26. I think,
Okay.
yeah, we're pulling the 20,000.
So you're assuming that 20, or so then that $20,000 is reflected in this?
No, I back at, it's a 22,500,464.
Okay.
I could redo that, but yeah, we're
Just wanted to double check that.
2,000,005, just change that 6 to a 4 and you'll.
I guess the other way to ask it would be, you're assuming that this kind of increase on Article 26 would be about $20,000?
That's exactly what, yeah.
Okay,
If we would have came to an agreement on that, that was our estimate, Eric, for what that probably would have cost us.
Okay.
If we could have came to our proposal.
yeah,
Number one is a different animal.
Right.
In terms of cost, but if we could have agreed to our 2, 3, and 4.
okay, thank you.
And it doesn't include the 3,000, I wanna make sure, we agreed to the 3,000 for the 2 teams, we do.
Any other person? Okay, we just need some time to talk. Consider this.
That one.
Yeah, it seems. It's from owl. Literally, I know, but last time. That doesn't even sound like an owl, but now I'm with you.
Maybe you had a different angle this time.
Yeah, but it also looks like one.
I know.
Excuse me. Okay.
Yes. Siri, okay, so, so we met and I mean, $1,000 on the base doesn't even cover inflation rate at that point. And for over 100 of our staff members, it doesn't even cover the increase in insurance either. So we just don't feel like we are going to be able to accept that at this point. And we're gonna need time to talk to the bargaining unit to figure out what they would like, because we just don't think this is feasible for us to, like, in good conscience, I just don't know that I can present asking so many of them to take a hit, like to lose money in the long run. So we put our heads back together and found a couple of times, if you guys want to consider them. So I know convocation moved to the afternoon, so we, on the 6th, so we were saying after about like 3:30ish, I thought it's supposed to be done at 3, we would be available that day, the 6th, after 3:30. And then we also looked at the next week, the 13th and the 15th, after school, would be available. That work?
Yeah.
All three of you wanna schedule the 6th?
Yeah.
Okay. Where would we be? Do we wanna do KA or do?
Yeah.
We could do,
Would that
I mean,
be
I can also
easier
offer
for you?
space at Robinson if we need to do that, it's close.
If we want to continue having communications handle all
Oh,
of the
right.
recording, then we probably need to continue to do it here.
Here?
Yeah.
Okay,
Okay.
you wanna plan on here unless we find out from their admin it's not doable, okay. So do you wanna do right at 3:30 or do we need to start a little bit later?
I think 3:30 should be feasible for our group.
Okay, yeah, we figured by 3:30 we could get out of there probably and get back to our cars, so.
Do we want to plan 3:30 to 5:30, 3:30 to 6:30?
It's 6:30. I wouldn't want to be much longer than that. It's a.
6:30, okay. Yeah, let's say 3:30 to 6:30.
August 6th.
Yes, sir.
Awesome.
And then do we want to tentatively hold time on either the 13th or the 15th just in case? So that we have something on the calendar in case we need it?
That's fine.
I know it'll have to be a little later because you guys will have classes that day.
I think last year, did we do 4 to 6?
I thought we did 4:30. But I could do,
I think because, yeah.
Yeah, I
Definitely will.
will be busy till 4 o'clock with afternoons.
at least 4, yeah. So do we want to like tentatively just hold 4:30 to 6
On.
on the
13th.
13th or the 15th or both or what?
Yep,
Okay.
let's
but
do the 13th.
The 13th, okay.
4:30 to 6.
Yep,
My team, I'll send you an invite. Let me see, 6 or 6:36.
Would that be here again?
yeah, so that we can do, yeah, unless, of course, Flores can't accommodate us.
I do know they have activities in here sometimes, so.
Yeah, I mean, we'll have to double check the floor, but sure, figure it out.
Sure, that's a little bit short. We go back to.
Yeah, I mean,
Hope
yeah,
the
that's what I'm
windows-
saying.
They better be done at Topeka West by August or
This is a nice.
we're gonna have problems.
Yeah, that's gonna be rough.
Yeah,
It's still got plywood on it, I think, when I drove. by.
I know, and so we need a window contractor to find another gear.
Yeah. I mean, you could just send them over to Robinson and they can figure out how to put a hole in the ceiling, so I can have a window.
Send a window contractor over there and figure out how to put a gym over there.
Okay, so we will plan